Okay, so here it is in place. I have one little spot where I can line it up and from that get the rest of the orientation. As you can see, there is still quite a bit of airspace here that needs to be filled on the left, right, and also in the back side. And so today I'm going to be filling in these areas on the base, build those up. Hi, I'm Martin Shearer from Tesseract Restoration Studio, and welcome to part 2 of the repair of the Lladro Woman on a Horse. I want to remind you that the list of tools and materials that I use, including links to them, will be found in the description below. So, I decided to do this build to work around taking the reins off, as I said in the first part of the video, and in hindsight, if this were to arise again in the future, I would not do it this way. I would go ahead and take the reins off, now that I know how they went about attaching them. And the reason I know that is because the head broke off and I could see inside it to see how the reins were attached. And it's done with a strip of leather, and the ends of it are skived. They are cut at a very shallow angle and glued together that way, so that it doesn't change the thickness of the rein where they're glued together. And what they would do is thread that through the mouthpiece all the way through, pull the leather through, glue it, and then pull it back through into the center and lock it in place. And I would do that next time. I thought I might be able to work around it, and it was a challenge, and it was more difficult than it needed to be, but I did it. Part of it was doing it just to face the challenge of doing it. So anyway, we chose to do it one way and had to just went ahead and did it that way all the way through. So I'm going to mix up this A+B putty, and I've had people mention how I do this, and I'll explain why I do it the way I do. So you basically have two-part epoxy. You mix them together until it's one color and there are no streaks in it. And this stuff is really stiff stuff. So if I can shorten that time or get a better way to get a more even mix, I figured out a way to do that. So what I do is, okay, we start with two parts of the putty, and A and B, right? There's two. Press that down, cut it in half, and I stack it. Now I have 4 layers. Cut it again, stack it, 8 layers. Cut it in half, stack, 16 layers. 32 layers. 64 layers already. 128 layers. 256 layers. 512 layers. Every time I'm doing this, I'm doubling it. And now I have 1,024 layers, and that's how quick that was. And now, when I mix this, I only have to mix it for about 10 or 20 seconds, and it's thoroughly mixed. You can see the streaks are almost already gone. You have about 20 minutes working time before it starts getting stiff. It's nowhere near cured, but it would get, after about 20 minutes, it gets hard to work with, hard to spread around evenly. So, but 20 minutes is usually enough time to get done what I need to do. Now I mix it until I don't see any more streaks, and then I keep going As you can see how smooth the outside edge of this is. When it starts to stick to the knife, it's thoroughly mixed. So when you think you've mixed it enough, keep going. You see how the smoothness is going away? It's starting to get a little bit rough because it's sticking to my tool a little bit each time. So that is thoroughly mixed, and that probably took, I don't know, 2 minutes, I'm guessing. So there it is. So here we go. First thing you want to do is press this up against the mating surface. Okay, it's the next day, and I've taken the tape off the back of my fill here, and I put this head up here to see how it fits, and I had to grind down. I went up too high, so I ground that down a little bit, and we're doing a test fit to see how close we are here, and I am really close to being able to put this head on. So what I'm going to do today is fill in a little bit more here. I've got the same spot right here that needs about the same size there. We'll build up some tape here and fill that space in right there. And then I got another one over here. Fill those in. Come back. It's Friday. It's late in the week, and so tomorrow or Monday I will come and grind that down. And then meanwhile I have this piece that I want to work on separately and fill all these little voids here. A bunch of milliput on this side. I'm going to do some milliput fills on the horse head. I'm using this product, milliput Superfine White, which I use quite a bit, and I usually use that for the finer fills on cracks and little things, but I'm also going to fill a couple of a little bit larger cavities with it since I have it here. Alright, it's the next day, and I have filed down the milliput fills on this side of the horse head and shaped this fill a little bit more. Filed all the white milliput down on both sides. And now I'm ready to do some build up on the front side of this ear. It's like the whole front of this ear just flaked off, like a whole layer of it just. And right on this one edge right here, we have the original surface of the ear. There's still glaze on that right there, that little piece. So I'm going to put milliput from here up on there and start shaping an ear in here. And that's what I'm going to do right now. All right, it's the next day, and my last round of fills is cured. And I did a little bit of trimming and shaping, and now I'm close to getting ready to put this together. We still need to do a little bit more work, but as you can see, the sides left and right are pretty close to what they need to be. Close enough. And in the front is the curvature is wrong, but I'll fix that today. So I'm going to add a little more to the front here to get this curve right, and then I'll add a little bit back here on the mane. There's a space back here that you can't see. So we'll get that in there, and then also let me turn this. Also, what I need to fill today is these voids here. Some of this. So up around here, around the temple, and a little bit around the back of the cheekbone, jawbone. Okay, and then also this space under here, because that's going to be underneath and difficult to get at with tools and etc. So if I can fill 3/4 of that space, then I'm going to save myself a lot of difficult work down the road. Okay. So I got tape on my head, got tape underneath here. It's just a backing so I can get some resistance while I'm pushing this putty up against these edges. All right, it's a couple days later now, and I've done some work on this. Uh, we've done a little bit of fills on around here again, a little bit of fills around here again. I finished work. Can you see the ear okay? I finished working on this ear, getting a better shape to it. All of this is easier with this head unattached, so I can get my file around in here and do my shaping and stuff without having to move this entire object around. So we still have a lot more work to do. Well, not a lot. We've some work to do yet on this. And so the fit here is good enough for now. We're done putting fills on it for the moment. So I've got a pretty good alignment here on both sides. Whoops. On both sides, left and right, and then fills kind of funny in the front, but that's because this curvature is wrong. But no problem. We'll just fill that in. So, but I still need to do more work on this head as far as fills. So once I put the face back on here, I'm going to use Hixtel to bond this. I still have a space under the chin there. I have some voids over here on this side that all need to be addressed. So what I'm going to do is bond the face on today with Hixtel. And once that cures, then I can do all these fills around here with the head, with this still unattached, because then it's a lot easier to move this around and fill and file and sand and do all what I have to do, rather than have it attached to this thing where I have to move the entire object it's just crazy big and difficult, and a lot easier if I do it this way. So what that means is today I'm going to bond the face on. Tomorrow or the next day we'll do the fills and filing on this and get it as all the voids. Also, all these crack lines on the face where it doesn't need fills, that's all going to get filled again too. And then once all that's done and smoothed, then we can, making sure I don't get these reins twisted. Then once this is all set, then we can do this attachment. And more other problems await me down the road. So I have mixed my Hickstal. Used it on another job earlier today. I'll put a little bit on here. And so I took the tape off and scraped off any residual squeeze out from the glue, and now I'm going to do the fills of this with this A+B putty in here. Okay, so this fill is now hard, and I'm going to add some milliput. Alright, so I'm done now doing my fills on this and the milliput fills on the fine line cracks and stuff. So we're ready to put this together. Here's my rebuilt ear on this side. And so now we're get to the point where I need to reattach this to the base of the neck. And to do that, we're going to use A+B putty. I already have it mixed. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this A+B putty and roll it into a roll, and then I will add it to the top of this. And that's how I will cement it in place. Alright, so now it's important that I get this through the reins in the correct orientation. And now press this into place. It's pretty stiff stuff, this A+B, once I have it this much of it on here. This corner is crucial that I get it right. It's the only place where the neck actually connects with the original body. And so once I get that in place, everything's based on that. So I am going to press this into place. So, time to put some milliput on these seams here. And now some more milliput, or some more A plus B on this. So I've already done the fills on this and the milliput and filed it, and so now we're doing a second round of milliput. All right, we're back now. Again, I have done. We did our major fills, filling in all the voids and everything, and then we did our 3 rounds of milliput to get finer and finer fills. And you know, it's the process. You fill it, you file it, you go, oh, I missed a spot, or I need more here, and you do it again, and you keep doing it until you've done it enough. And so if you're looking at it closely, you'll see what I'm talking about. There are, like, every time I file this, you'll get scratches in it and dings and things, and you'll see something you didn't see before. But as you can see, this milliput can fill the finest of little nicks and things, and it's all important because it's just less work when I get to the cold glaze, which I will do next. And that just further refines the smoothing. And if you know anything about body work on cars, there's a whole lot of work done before they ever get around to the painting part. And it's all about making it smooth transition so you will not be able to see any of the seams between the new part and the old part. So, and because this is so glossy, you're going to see all that. Luckily, it's white, so we have a little bit of forgiveness there. If it was black, you would see every tiny little imperfection. Okay, so we're done with the building and everything. It's all back together. It's all filled and filed, and now we are getting ready to do some cold glaze. And we're presented with another challenge. The same one, just a different aspect of it. I've got this leather rain here that I can't get cold glaze or paint on because they won't be able to get it off. Not only do I have to figure out a way to mask it, but I have to figure out a way to keep it off of this surface while I'm painting it. Going to be difficult. This side will probably be done differently than the other side. And I will just cover that when I get it. I think I have a plan for that. But in the meantime, I figured out a way to deal with this leather rain problem on the other side. And then, so what I have here is this is a straw, and it's left over from Halloween, which wasn't that long ago. It's a pretty stiff straw and smaller than a normal one. And I cut a slit in it, and I slipped it over the rain. And it's not touching the neck. You can see behind it. So I'm good there. And so I just need to cover this little section right here so I can do the cold glaze. And today I'm going to do a cold glaze on this side. And so what I'll do, I'm going to turn it again. My plan is for the other side is, since I'm airbrushing the cold glaze, and I'm going to do, you have to do it in several light coats. I might just hold this up out of my way with a handheld mask over it somehow, something like this. I'm not touching the horse because I don't want a hard line. If I bring it off the surface, you don't get a hard edge on the mask. So just to keep the stuff, the cold glaze off the rain, do half of it, you know, and hold this up out of the way for 5 minutes, and then do the opposite side here. And you know, it's slower, it's a little more tedious, but I got to keep that off there. The thing is, I can't have it touching this when it's wet, and it's right now. If I put straws on here, it will be touching. There's no way to do the straw thing on this side. There's too much of a curve, and there'll be too many sections, little sections. Otherwise, little straight sections make this stiffer and straighter, and it will touch no matter what you do. So we got to figure out a way to keep this off of here. Meantime, let's put this on here. So I just need to slip this over this rain. So I'm putting a toothpick in that holds it, it spreads it open for me while I can get it started on here. And then I can use the toothpick to stuff it down inside. And there we go. So now this is covered when I spray from this side. And this rain, I'm just going to pull it down out of my way when I'm shooting that. So now we're going to do a cold glaze on this today. And I'm not going to film it. It's, you know, from spraying clear stuff on, you're not going to see anything. So what I'll do is we'll join back here once all the cold glaze is done. I'm going to do 2 or 3 coats, sanding between each one, and when it's finally smooth and I can't see any transitions or any bumps in this, then we're ready to paint. We'll try to get some paint on this back to finally. All right, so I wasn't happy with the finish on this, so I had some little spots where I needed to do another round of fills on it. And sometimes you can't see that until you put paint on it. I know that sounds weird, but sometimes it's, you know, you can look really, really closely and you just can't see it. And when you put the first coat of paint on it, all of a sudden it becomes so obvious. So we did another round of fills, and you can see where all this light area is where those fills were. Show you the other side. And we had some under the chin here, a whole bunch of more spots up here that had to be filled. So we did that. Also did another couple rounds of cold glaze on it to smooth it out so I could sand it and then add some more paint on top of that. So that's what I'm going to do today, is touch up more paint where these fills were. Okay, so I need to put a liquid mask on this, what we call a frisket, and because I'm going to be spray painting this mane here. And I want to protect the areas where I'm not going to be putting that color. So I'm using this stuff. It's a latex mask, liquid mask that gets painted on. And this is made for watercolors. I have several different types of this, but this one's a latex base, and it's easy to get off. Ammonia is the solvent in it, water and ammonia. So I want to show you just applying it because I always talk about it, and you never see this stage. And the brush I'm using to apply it is these, you know, a whole bag of these for about $1. And they're just plastic, and they have plastic bristles on them. And the reason I use them is because this stuff is just going to ruin your paintbrush. It just gets rubber all through the bristles, and then it's impossible to use. It's really difficult to clean out. The plastic, though, I can use it like this, and it still works. And if I need to, I can just pull this stuff off the fibers. I just, you know, take the time, and it just comes right off. But I like it like this because it retains its shape, and I can use it like a paintbrush on here. So I'm going to do this liquid frisket. What I need to do is put it on here, probably out from here to, you know, here maybe. And then let that dry. This will peel off just by rubbing it when I'm done. Then I'll turn it over, do the other side, and I also have to do around these ears and things where I can spray without getting it on everything. But you're only going to see a small portion of that. I just wanted to show you me applying it. So the idea is to not work this stuff much. Just put it where you need it. Try not to get bubbles in it. And I have this relatively flat because the liquid will run to one side or the other before it dries. It'll be thicker on one side, and in this case it will be up where I need it. There, so just so I can get this on here where the overspray won't be a problem. Now, as you can see, this is all beginning to run down to here. It'll still work. As long as it's covered, we're fine. It doesn't have to be very thick, but if you get it too thin, it's difficult to remove. I'm sort of flowing it on rather than painting it. Okay, now the liquid frisket is dried, and I just wanted to show it to you. It's hard to see, but here's the edge of it. And you can see this slightly different coloring here. That's the mask, okay? Just wanted to give you an idea what it looks like once it's dried. So in addition to my masking, frisket masking, I want to not get paint on this. So instead of doing a whole lot of masking with frisket, I'm just going to cut a card, stick it in there, and just protect all that area with this. Alright, so now I'm going to peel this masking off, and generally we just roll it and it just peels right off. And that's really all there is to it. The trick though is to get all of it, and sometimes it's difficult to see. But also if you put it on heavy enough, in addition to just rolling it, once you start peeling it, if it's thicker it comes off in sheets. So that's it, it's completely clean. We got a nice edge on there. And peel this off. And so that's how we'll do all of it.